What's going on? Kunal here of Bulls on Wall Street. Happy Sunday. We got some things to unpack in last week's market, and then we will dig in a couple minutes later into tomorrow's watch list. At this moment, we are all systems as a go in terms of both day trading and swing trading. The market is in still a big stage uptrend at the moment. Even though we have stalled out for Fridays, we ran to the top of the Bollinger Band. That was a little bit to be expected after such a big gap and go day. I would consider this almost an inside day. Nothing has changed structurally out of the picture in terms of the market. If you're looking at the market indexes, I always like to do a 5-day sort just to see where the heat is and where the nastiness is. So you can see the nastiness is the ARC names, so that's the IWM names, and then solar, which is also a risk on assets. So small caps, mid caps, risk on assets. We're down significantly last week in terms of the ARC, the TAN, and you saw it with the IWM. On the other side, on the upside, China was up 6%, semiconductors up 3%, led by NVIDIA, and then you had natural gas and some other things going on, bots. So your AI theme, your semiconductor theme is still hooting and hollering. I think for this coming week, if we back and fill a little bit of this QQQs, that could be in the cards here. I wouldn't be surprised, we've been talking about this for a little bit, to see a little bit of consolidation in the general markets, whether it comes now or later. The higher we go, the longer and the harder the chance is of a prolonged range in consolidation. So better to get in this and nip this in the bud a little bit. If we can back and fill a little bit, even for a week or two, it really propels us to a much better locations. But we have not gotten that. If we look, anytime we've got really 2 days, 3 days in the market, we have ripped like a mofo as the FOMO people, the dip buyers have been coming in. And, this may happen again. So my plan for tomorrow, week open, I'm still a buyer of the market on the day trading. We gap up. I think, I'd probably take a chill at the open and wait for a pullback. At this point, though, all systems is a go on the Qs. All systems is a go on the SPY. We are at the top of the Bollinger Band here. Probably could use a week open on this. But overall, what can you do? Hey, Charlie, chill out, baby. Now, on the IWM, even though the ARC and some of these names were nasty, and that some of that is because of Roku and Twilio, these earnings, they had some earnings debacles. But overall, the structure of this is still holding up pretty well. You got test, and you're kind of tightening into this over here. Like, it's a good look. It's still a good look, but you need to break and clear this 205, and we're still a little bit of ways away. And frankly, every chance we've had to break, it's not happened. But at some point, that vaunted rotation that we've been looking for is going to come. And when it comes, it'll be sweet. But we're not there yet. But watch that 204. Who knows? Maybe next week is the week. Let's take a look at the market, because there's so many good stocks that are still that are still consolidating and running and all this kind of stuff. So I want to just start with some basic day trades. I think for tomorrow could be hot. MRVI, Life Science Holdings. You got a big base breakout on this, 26 million shares in volume, 128 million share float. So right in that sweet spot. I don't like that, anymore, any of that micro crap, micro float stuff. That stuff is so hard to damn trade. But, if we can get, even a little bit of this kind of stuff. These things got good range, and that kind of 100, 200 million share float, I think, is a really good sweet spot. This is fantastic. CVNA had a little bit of a pull. It may have gapped up too much yesterday, but I think this is in play. Look at the overall longer-term chart on this, the big base that it's clearing out of. Probably still a significant amount of shorts in this, even though probably a lot of them was covered yesterday, and the short interest never really updates. But I think this is still in play, man. As long as this kind of 63, 62 zone holds, who are we to say no to this thing? It's got the look. Root, we've been talking about this for days here. Great trend on this on Friday. Any week open on this one, I think we're still a buyer. If it gaps up, I think probably it rolls for the day. But a week open, we want to be a buyer. TNDM, nice little PR on this boy. Man, look at this thing. Red to green. Big run, 16% on this one. The medical devices, biotechs have been heating up the last handful of weeks too. This has got a good look to it, man. I think this is on watch tomorrow. Let's watch that 32 push. SQ had earnings out, man. It had like 2 candles of glory. Went from like 78 to 83 and then just rolled right over. It's got a good look to it, though. If you look and turn your head enough and you just prairie dog it a little bit, it's there, right? It's there. It just needs a little bit of juice. It kind of also runs a little bit with Bitcoin and stuff like that, too. But, man, it's acting a lot better than PayPal, I'll tell you that. You got a level here. Let's see if it closes, over this 80 at some point. If it closes over that 80 at some point, at this point it's been rejected, but we can reclaim it pretty quick. It's right in the zone of love. If we kind of clear this 80 spot, let's see what's going on this bad boy. ARM, everybody's been watching this 138 breakout. Look, the lockup is coming on this. It's a heavily watched lockup, so you can do the opposite and also just squeeze it, but I'm thinking that's probably not the case. Let's see. I want to see this thing go parabolic and then try to fizzle this thing out into the lockup at some point, but we haven't seen the signal yet. Hood clearing out all these levels over here. Got a little bit of a flag pattern on the daily. A weak open on this one. I would not chase strength on this one. If it gaps up to 1475, it's done. But if it pulls back, let's go 1425-ish. I think that's going to be a sweet spot. Trip is digesting this post-earnings move. You've got the 27-28 zone that's starting to hold up here. This has got a good look to it. Aspen Extreme. You got an old school cup and handle. It's starting to tighten up on the 9 EMA here. 18 is the trigger. I would consider this a couple rest days here. Let's see how this thing starts to tighten up here, works its way to 18. If you can kind of grind out some of those sellers and absorb them, then I think it's going to have a really nice spot. Been waiting on this old lift here. Big breakout, earnings pop, retesting the breakout spot into the zone of love here. We got to pull back right into the bone zone. It's a buenos, man. It may take some days because it's a thicker stock to kind of curl its way, but it's getting there. Uber. One more day, it may need to just back and fill this flag, but it's getting there. This has been a market leader out of the non-semiconductor Mag 7s. If you take out the Mag 7s, this is probably the best trender out of the larger cap names. $160 billion company, obviously. Boy, what a run. Its market cap is already up like 4x on the year. Fantastic, right? Like this is what you want to see. It's how a company should operate in terms of its trends. That's fantastic. Keep that online. Applov, maybe one more day, but look, if it dumps off tomorrow at the open, and you get any kind of pull closer to 55, this is the hourly chart, right? So anything kind of pulling back into the 55, close to the 55, you may even come into the 50 MA in the hourly. I think that could be more of an anticipation buy, and your confirmation buy's up there. But looks pretty damn good. Net, I'd leave that one alone. Hey, Mara still resting right into the bone zone here. You've got a spot here. This is your hourly chart. 25 is like your confirmation entry, and your anticipation entry, if you're really into this, if we dip down into the kind of 22.75 and hold, or even better would be the 50-day moving average. I mean, that sets up a swing entry. I think this 25 is a day trade entry, and then you start day trading it back and forth up until that kind of zone of love over here. But if you got if you want to do a little swingy on this, you need this thing somewhere in this zone over here, and that's going to be a good spot. This thing ain't going away. Same thing with CLSK. It ain't going away. PLTR still tightening it up, but on watch. AMD got rejected at resistance on Friday. To be expected, it was the second test. Now we've tested it. Let's see if this thing comes back up and retest it. It just needs... It's holding here on the hourly into the bone zone. You got your 50 MA right there too. Let's see. I would consider this an inside day, and it was an inside day. Like if you look at your 5-minute chart right? It was an inside day from the previous day, so overall the structure is still bullish. CLSK is just tightening up. It may go tomorrow, frankly. You got a nice look on this thing. 17, oof, that's nice. And then, the real support is on the hourly is more around the 15 spot. Oh, that's backing and filling right there. Dudes. And then watch for any big gap ups. Not big gap ups, a decent-sized gap ups on Rivian and Run. These are, monster bleeders. Any kind of a push into supply, I think we take those down. Maybe even Nova, too. They're both turds. They're done for now until we get the kind of climactic sell-off, which is probably in the works, but who knows when that comes. Guys, trade well, trade fast tomorrow. I'll see everybody in the Boom Boom Room. Peace.